You're walking through your kitchen in the dark. Your foot brushes something on the floor. Before you've even registered what it is, your body has already jumped back. Your heart is pounding. Your hand is gripping the counter. And only now, a full half second later, does your brain catch up and tell you it was just the cat. That gap is strange when you think about it. You flinched before you knew why. You reacted to a threat your conscious mind hadn't identified yet. So who exactly made that decision? It wasn't you. Not the you that thinks in words and makes plans and feels embarrassed about jumping at a cat. Something else flinched first, something older. Try to catch it happening next time. You can't. By the time you notice your own fear, the decision has already been made and acted on. Your conscious mind doesn't get a vote. It gets a memo, after the fact, explaining what your body already did. Your eyes did receive the information. Light bounced off the shape on the floor and hit your retina at the speed you'd expect. But that information didn't go straight to the part of your brain that thinks. It took a detour. And that detour is the reason you're still alive to read this sentence. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades mapping what happens inside the brain in the moments after something frightening appears. What he found was a shortcut. Visual information doesn't only travel the long way, up through the cortex, where it gets analyzed, labeled, and understood. Some of it splits off early and rushes straight to a small, almond-shaped structure deep in the brain called the amygdala. Ledoux called this the low road. It skips the thinking. It skips the understanding. It just reacts. The high road, the one that actually tells you that's the cat, is slower. It has to build a full picture first. By the time it delivers that picture, the low road has already told your muscles to jump, your heart to race, and your hands to brace for impact. You don't flinch because you've recognized danger. You flinch and then you recognize. This isn't a flaw. It's not your brain glitching. It's a feature that was built under conditions you've never personally experienced, but your ancestors lived inside for millions of years. Picture the kind of world that shaped this. Tall grass, low light, a shape on the ground that might be a curved stick or might be a snake. The two look almost identical from a distance, in motion, half hidden. If you wait to be sure might come from inside its mouth. So evolution did not reward the most accurate brain. It rewarded the fastest one. A brain that occasionally flinched at sticks, but never failed to flinch at snakes, was a brain that survived to pass itself on. A brain that paused to carefully analyze every curved shape on the forest floor, sometimes didn't get the chance to analyze a second one. This is the foundation of what psychologists Arne Oman and Susan Minecke called the fear module, a set of responses in the brain that activate automatically, fast, and almost completely outside conscious control, specifically tuned to threats that mattered across evolutionary time. Not threats in general, specific ones, ancient ones. In their research, Oman and Minecke found that people detect images of snakes faster than they detect images of flowers, mushrooms, or other neutral objects, even when the images are flashed too quickly to consciously process. Show someone a grid of photos with one snake hidden among flowers, and they'll find it faster than if the single odd image is something modern and dangerous, like a gun or a frayed power cord. Your brain isn't actually built to fear the things most likely to kill you today. It's built to fear the things most likely to have killed your ancestors. Why snakes specifically? Anthropologist Lynn Isbell has a theory that reframes the entire story of primate vision. She proposes that snakes weren't just one predator among many for early primates. They may have been the predator that built the primate visual system in the first place. For tens of millions of years, snakes were one of the only predators small enough to hide in the very trees where early primates lived, and patient enough to wait there. According to Isbell's snake detection theory, the constant pressure of nearly invisible predators hiding in foliage is what pushed primate brains to develop sharper color vision, better depth perception, and the exact neural circuitry that today makes you flinch at a coiled object on your kitchen floor before you know what it is. Your eyes are not just for seeing the world. They may be a multi-million-year-old anti-snake detection system that happens to also let you read this sentence. Isbell's theory also helps explain something that seems unrelated at first. Why are humans, almost uniquely among mammals, so good at pointing at things, following someone else's gaze, and silently agreeing with a group about where danger is? If the predator that mattered most was small, camouflaged, and easy to miss, then survival didn't only depend on your own eyes, it depended on everyone else's eyes too. A troop that could collectively flick their attention to the same patch of grass, the instant one member spotted movement, had an advantage no lone observer could match. Some researchers argue this is part of of where shared attention, and eventually, some of the social wiring underneath human cooperation got its start. The snake didn't just shape your eyes. It may have helped shape how you pay attention to other people. And the system doesn't only run on vision. Researchers have shown that this same fear circuitry activates even when people are shown threatening images for a fraction of a second, too fast to consciously register. Using a technique called masking, the amygdala still lights up, the heart rate still changes, the body still prepares for danger that the conscious mind never even saw. You can be afraid of something you didn't know was there. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. This circuitry doesn't know what decade it lives in. It has no calendar. It cannot update itself based on what you've told it about modern life. As far as your amygdala is concerned, the most dangerous thing in your environment might still be a shape in the grass, and the least dangerous thing might be something that is, statistically, far more likely to actually harm you. This is why you can walk past a parked car without a flicker of unease, even though cars kill over 1 million people globally every year. And it's why a single spider in the bathtub, an animal that in most homes could not seriously hurt you at all, can send your pulse climbing before you've even fully focused your eyes on it. Your nervous system isn't calculating real risk. It's running a script written by an environment that no longer exists. Think about what that means for the parts of modern life that genuinely do scare you. The flinch you feel scrolling past a certain headline, the tightness in your chest before opening an email you're dreading, the jolt when your phone buzzes unexpectedly in a quiet room. None of these are snakes. None of these are predators in the grass. But your body doesn't always know the difference. It responds to a sudden, unpredictable, half-seen stimulus the same way it would have responded on the savannah, because that machinery was never rebuilt for offices, inboxes, or notifications. It was just repurposed. This is also why fear is so much easier to learn than to unlearn. Studies on fear conditioning show that people acquire a fear response to evolutionarily relevant threats, like snakes and angry faces, faster and more durably than they acquire fear of modern dangerous objects, even when both are paired with the exact same unpleasant outcome in a lab setting. Your brain is, in a very real sense, preloaded. It's not a blank slate waiting for the world to teach it what to fear. It already has a syllabus, written before you were born, edited over hundreds of thousands of generations, and you are simply living inside its curriculum. Think about what this means for the things that genuinely do frighten you today, the ones that have nothing to do with grass or predators at all. A notification sound at 2 a.m., a name you don't recognize calling your phone, the split second before you open results from a medical test. None of these existed for most of human history. There was no version of your ancestors waiting on a screen to light up, and yet your body treats an unexpected buzz in a silent room with almost the same primitive alarm it would use for a rustle in the brush. The stimulus is new. The machinery responding to it is not. This mismatch even shapes which fears refuse to go away, no matter how often you tell yourself they're irrational. A fear of flying is statistically almost absurd. Commercial aviation is one of the safest activities a person can do, but fear of flying remains common and stubborn, while plenty of people stay completely calm, crossing a busy street, an activity that kills far more people every year. The difference isn't math. Flying asks you to surrender control while sealed inside a loud metal tube far above the ground, a situation that pattern matches uncomfortably well to a body that evolved to associate height, confinement, and loss of control with death. Crossing a street, for all its real danger, doesn't trip any of those ancient wires. Your fear isn't measuring probability. It's measuring resemblance to the dangers your ancestors actually survived. So the next time you flinch at a shadow, a sound, a shape that turns out to be nothing, you're not being irrational. You're not overreacting. You are running code so old it predates language, predates fire, predates the upright walk that eventually got you to that kitchen in the first place. For 1/4 of a second, you weren't a person checking their phone or making dinner. You were something much older, doing the one job it was built to do faster than anything else in your body, deciding, before you could even ask the question, whether the shape on the ground was a stick or whether it was about to become the last thing you ever saw. You didn't choose to flinch. Something inside you chose for you, half a second before you arrived. And it's been making that decision correctly enough for long enough that you're here to wonder about it at all.